Was Cypher right? In the ongoing war between man and machine, Cypher is known to be the Judas of the Nebuchadnezzar. He betrayed his principles for a comfy life inside the Matrix. Behind his tragic tale resides an ideology that resonates to this day. So today we are again going to look at the story of this iconic traitor, considered by some to be a visionary and philosopher who saw past the Oracle's lies, and others just another pawn of the machines. How did Cypher go from being one of the Resistance best members to a traitor? And how the Matrix Resurrections proved him right. Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Like many other red pills, Cypher was born and bred inside the Matrix, and like the others, he lived in ignorance. Mr. Reagan caught Morpheus's attention for his talent with computers. We believe that Cypher excelled in communications and programming, occasionally working as an operator. Cypher accepted Morpheus's offer and took the red pill. Never could he have imagined waking up to a destroyed world where machines fed off the humans' bioenergy, and those who escape the Matrix fight to survive every day. Morpheus introduced Cypher to the city of Zion and Trinity, with whom Cypher would ultimately fall in love with. Morpheus had been trying for decades to find the one, and he may have thought that Cypher was the one. Even Cypher himself came to believe it at one point, since the Oracle had prophesied to Trinity that she would be in love with the one. Maybe it was just wishful thinking on Cypher's part. Things began to get complicated for Cypher after Neo was found. Trinity became infatuated with Neo. Cypher knew it, even though she denied it. Neo was then rescued from the Matrix, and he and Trinity started to get closer. Trinity was the element that allowed Neo to not give up and become the best version of himself. More accurately, to activate the integral anomaly within him. Cypher's story went in a different direction. He took the red pill with many questions. He just didn't like the answers. He did not want to fight in a war or live in a ruined world eating bug juice. Morpheus subsequently discarded Cypher as the possible one and continued his search until he found Neo. How do you think Cypher felt seeing Trinity falling for Neo and Morpheus placing all his hope in someone else? Before Morpheus saved Neo, he sold him the same story about the one who would wake up from the Matrix and save humanity. What Morpheus didn't tell him was about the other ones he thought he had found, who had died. One of them was Eddie, a young man with whom we have created many videos related to his story. Eddie was ultimately cut from the final script of The Matrix. His story can be read in the book The Art of the Matrix. There you can find the original script with storyboards of Eddie's story. The book shows that Morpheus led Eddie to his death because he was convinced that Eddie was the one. The man was caught by agents, and Morpheus unplugged him before he could give the enemy any information. And this is why Cypher warned Neo to be careful when he sees an agent.
Little piece of advice. You see an agent, you do what we do. Run. You run your ass off.
Cypher, disillusioned because the only good thing he thought he had in the real world, that being Trinity, was interested in someone else, saw Morpheus as a fanatic who led the blue pills to their deaths, and he knew that Neo would be next. It was time to think about himself and to be selfish. Cypher reached a point where the only pleasure he felt was within the simulation. During Neo's first dinner with the crew, Miles talks about a program that Neo can use to help pass the time. The Woman in Red. The Woman in Red may seem like a minor plot element, but it does have deeper implications. These types of simulations, designed by members of the Resistance, are intended to offer a momentary escape from the grim reality and provide relief or relaxation for the red pills. They can be used for training as well. However, these types of programs represent something else for Cypher, the chance at a different life. A life inside the Matrix, free from the horrors and dangers of the real world. He was already discontented and burdened by the harsh reality of fighting the machines, so these programs awaken memories of the simple comforts and pleasures of the Matrix. Although these programs are intended to be mere distractions or training tools, they were reminders to Cypher of what he had lost for listening to Morpheus. Cypher felt ever more betrayed by his supposed liberator and by Trinity. After all, she was only following orders from a false prophet. Nobody gave Cypher a chance. We already know what happens next. Cypher makes a deal with Agent Smith, betrays Morpheus, kills most of the crew, and then he dies. Cypher gave up all hope that his life would improve in Zion. Even if the humans had won, he wouldn't be able to enjoy a better life. He understood that the only good thing he had in his life was inside the Matrix, and he was willing to do anything to get it back. He was right, mind you. Neo did die, but his death was just one move in the game of chess between the Oracle and the Architect. Cypher's betrayal led to the arrival of the supposed One, a tool created by the machines to perpetuate the slavery of humanity. Neo then began his path as the One, and Cypher was disgraced and forgotten. Neo defeats Agent Smith and saves everyone. It seemed that things would get better, but 60 years later, and again, Cypher was proven right. Thomas was reborn, so to speak, rebuilt with fractured memories from his previous life as the One. Zion was destroyed, Morpheus was dead, and the hope for peace between man and machine remained a dream. All the inhabitants of Zion who faithfully followed Morpheus died during the machine's civil war. Those who turned away from him and his beliefs, such as Niobe, survived and built a new city with the help of human-friendly machines. Tom Anderson, again trapped inside the Matrix, is living the life that was intended for Cypher. He's rich, famous, loved, and eats steaks. And yet he is miserable because he is missing the one thing that made him happy, the one thing Cypher really wanted but could never have: Trinity. Following Morpheus led Cypher to his death. The only pleasures he wanted could only be found inside the simulation. In the Matrix, there was happiness. In the real world, there was only hopelessness. Morpheus spent his last days on Earth ruling the underground city, delusional, while millions of humans connected to the simulation lived happy lives. Perhaps Cypher's story was an allegory of Judas, who betrayed the people who helped him and who did not allow his friends to escape with him. More than 20 years after the release of The Matrix in theaters, and here we are, following in the footsteps of the One Cypher. We go to the internet, to social media, to escape from the real world. We are not that different from Cypher. Furthermore, we are starting to love more what exists in these digital worlds than what is in the real world. But do you agree? What would you do in Cypher's shoes? Would you fight for Zion, even if there's nothing to gain for yourself? Or would you let it all burn for a chance to eat a nice juicy steak? For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.